So my wife got in a interesting conversation on Facebook. There was some heated comments thrown around. One of those where you just kind of want to grab the popcorn and settle in and watch the fireworks. It was about the vaccines. Monica opens up with what's insulting and condescending and disgusting is that even when anyone has to offer an incentive to get vaccinated during a pandemic. But I guess Darwin will win in the end, taking down the immune compromised in the process. Okay, that's a mouthful, and that's leftist ideology. She's just parroting what she keeps hearing from leftist politicians and leftist media. Okay, where they tell you one, your feelings always matter. Your feelings are facts. If you feel something, it's relevant. We must listen to them and we must abide by your feelings. Okay. Uh, and everything in this conversation will tie into a a common theme of the leftists is which is they're trying to ideologically subvert core American values, the American values that made this country great, that in just a short period of time made it the freest country, the most powerful country, and at the same time, with that power, they remained benevolent. They remained responsible, like no other country has ever done in history. Which is just phenomenal because usually, as the old saying goes, power corrupts. Okay, our history is not perfect, but we haven't taken over other countries. We haven't destroyed the world, even though we have the power to do it. So, and why? Why haven't we sunk to the lowest levels of evil like Stalin, like these communist countries, like these leftist countries, like Venezuela, like Cuba? Why haven't we sunk to these lowest levels of evil? Is because we've held true to the American values that are enumerated in our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence. And where do those come from? Sources like the Bible and Greek philosophers. These leftists, they want to destroy these things, these pieces of knowledge, these principles that have been passed on from generation to generation. They want to erase it and replace it with what? Trivial things, things that make the citizens, especially of the Western culture, citizens of the Western culture, weak and useless. Like they intentionally want to make you fat and dumb and weak. And the reason being is, believe it or not, and I don't know why this is so hard to believe, there are people that want to see the U.S. destroy itself. Large populations of people that want to see that. You're like, oh, you're such a conspiracy theorist. It's like it's only happened 25 times in the last 100 years to other countries, 26 times now with Venezuela. And looks like it's going to happen with Cuba, even though Cuba's been on the brink kind of for I don't know how long, ever since Castro took power, I suppose. Uh, they want to see the U.S. destroy itself. They don't have the power to destroy the U.S., and this comes from ancient war tactics. It's in the art of war. Is the best way to destroy an enemy is from within. It's like these people know that, and how do you do that? You subvert their ideologies. You take something that really is useful and powerful, like personal responsibility, work ethic, uh, morals, the family unit, all these things that make a country great, and you replace them with something useless. And then the country will fall apart. and then it's so weak it can't defend itself if it's still alive. Then you can take it over by force if you want to, if need be. Because even if these citizens that have been ideologically subverted, it only takes about 15 to 20 years, one generation. Um, Yuri Bezmenov illustrates this in one of his famous videos. Uh, this is known tactics. This is not anything anybody made up, and it's not a novelty of any kind. It's a fundamental of warfare. Uh, After 15, 20 years, even if these individuals that have been demoralized, is what Yuri calls it, want to fight back, which they won't want to fight back, because no matter how much evidence and facts you present them, they will not rail against their socialist leaders. They won't rail against them. They say, whatever my socialist leader says is good, is the truth. Okay? That's why Stalin, Hitler, Mao, the Kims in North Korea, they get away with what they get away with. They've indoctrinated generations, and these generations are completely demoralized. They don't have the power to believe anything else. You can present any evidence to them, you won't bring them back. Okay, so we're in a obesity epidemic, which is coincidental, right? We've replaced the value of personal responsibility, of fitness, of strength with uh, what would they call it? I don't even know. Tolerance. Tolerate fat people. Don't fat shame. Uh, it's okay to never train and eat Krispy Kremes. Okay, because that's one of the incentives. All right, Monica says offer incentives to get vaccinated during a pandemic instead of incentivizing with a gym membership, which is a probably the number one cure for this virus. Okay, the evidence is overwhelming. The young and fit are not dying. They're getting sniffles. The virus does not affect the young and fit whatsoever. Okay, it is super deadly, according to the evidence, to the morbidly obese, to people with underlying issues. Okay, unfortunately, some people can't do anything about their underlying issue. That is an extreme tragedy. I'm not being harsh or malevolent towards those individuals, and my heart goes out to them. Um, I'm not being harsh and malevolent to the individuals who lack responsibility, who choose not to take care of their fitness. Because there's no need to be. But I am going to state facts. I am going to throw the evidence out there, and hopefully I can help some people. Okay? I didn't get COVID. I don't need the vaccine. If you're young and fit, it seems to have no effect. And this goes back to the ideological subversion. Well, I've seen the young die. I've seen a fit runner die from this. I saw a perfectly healthy 12-year-old die. Okay, first of all, you're a victim of these leftist ideologies because you believe everything you hear and see without gathering as much evidence as possible and observing, making observations, okay, and then analyzing them in a scientific form, scientific method, okay. Eh, More often than not, I can't even remember not. Every time I've investigated a case, because I wanted to know, I'm scared too. They get that's what they feed off of is fear. They're trying to scare us to death. This virus is going to wipe us out, right? I'm like, oh crap, I better find out what it's all about. So, perfectly healthy 12-year-old dies from COVID. I see the headline. I'm like, so I need to check this out. What happened here? And I see a picture of him. He's morbidly obese. Okay, there's a difference between chunky, chubby, and morbidly obese. And everybody on the left in our culture will tell that kid day after day, there's nothing wrong with you, bud. You're okay just the way you are. Don't let anybody fat shame you. Those people got him killed. And they did it on purpose. Okay? A father like myself who loves my boys to death. I don't know if I've ever even used words like that before. Tell my boys they're okay just the way they are. Most of our conversations is about becoming the best you can be, is about reaching your potential, moving forward. You know, I try to lift their spirits when they fail. You know, that's okay, bud. You'll get it. Try again. We learn when we fail. You can't be a master without being a fool first. So try again and again and again and again. Fail, 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 fail. I like to brag because and say you don't want to play a guy like me in checkers. Because if you beat me, we're going to be there all day. I'm not going to get depressed and down on myself. I'm just going to tell you set them back up. Or I'm going to try again and we're going to play again until I beat you. Okay, that kind of mentality is not a value anymore. Courage is not a value anymore. Strength, things that make us formidable are intentionally being subverted. They're not values anymore. You know, I don't know the whole story about Simone Biles, but that's a perfect example. Could be, I highly suspect. If she has a legitimate reason, like her coaches are sexually abusing her, which is, apparently has happened in gymnastics, there's a history of that, kind of like in the Catholic Church. Uh, Barring some exceptional circumstance like that, because I heard her quote, just not having fun anymore. The leftists tell you then it's okay to quit, right? Just not having fun anymore. Most most 18-year-olds, young adults will join the military because they think it's going to be fun. And as soon as they get to boot camp, they realize it's not going to be fun. And our values, our culture back in the day didn't leave them any room to quit. It's like, you thought it was going to be fun and it's not, that's too bad. That's too bad. Because this is not about fun. This is about personal responsibility. This is about what you owe others. You want to be part of a city, you want to be part of a village, you want to be part of a country, you want to be part of this world, you need to contribute. That's a whole nother tangent. I'm not going to go on. Let's keep moving forward on this conversation. But I guess Darwin will win in the end, taking down the immune compromised. Most of the immune compromised are immune compromised by choice. Rare diseases are rare. They're statistically rare. So if you're not immune compromised by choice, you're the few. You're in a minority of minorities. Okay? And then the conversation goes on. Joanna, Nance, living a healthy lifestyle will definitely help. I just feel the urgent need is for people to get vaccinated. Because Lydia said, yeah, they're incentivizing with Krispy Kremes and I don't know what else, anything but what they probably should incentivize with, like a gym membership. Um, and then Monica says vaccines will be much more effective in saving lives. We don't know. We don't know that. It's way too early. There's even a variant now. Do we have a vaccine for that variant? This vaccine's already outdated. Okay, and if you don't see a trend because you haven't studied history whatsoever, is this not going to end until we end it as citizens, as Americans, united Americans. We end it. It's like, okay, enough of these shenanigans. Because luckily, you know, the vaccine is not a global killer. Luckily. And I say that because there's a good chance this was man made by malevolent people, depopulationists. This was man made in Wuhan, China. Okay. And for some reason, they decided they didn't want to wipe out the planet. It surprises me because every dictator ends up doing that eventually. Massive genocide. Guess they haven't graduated that level yet. Uh, Vaccines will be much more effective in saving lives in the immediate future than expecting obese people to rapidly lose weight. Well, let's just start there. Much more effective compared to fitness and health. All right, well let's examine the immediate benefits of fitness and health. I've trained people for over 10,000 hours. I've seen the progression from zero. Somebody who's never trained in their life, they're morbidly obese, or they're at a state of decrepitude that inhibits them from functioning better than a 5-year old. And this can happen in your 30s. I've turned them around in just 4 months' time where there's zero comparison. They started out, the barbell would break their back. We couldn't even use a barbell, 45-pound barbell, which should be light for any adult. Any adult. It doesn't matter your size, your gender. 45-pound barbell should be lightweight. Okay. 4 months later, they've melted weight, increased their strength 100-fold. Everybody they know can't stop commenting on their improvement in just 4 months. When did this pandemic start? Year and a half ago? And you are still harping about the vaccine and not putting an emphasis on fitness? That's called brainwashed. That's called indoctrinated. Now, if you start now, you get on that fitness bandwagon, you can join my group of people that are unaffected. I was saying thank God earlier because that's apparently how these guys designed the virus. You can save yourself. barring you don't have a rare disease. Okay. If you're one of the people that are in danger due to obesity, you can save yourself. Don't listen to the leftists. Okay. Listen to somebody with a brain that's been there, that has done it his whole life. They'd be like, yeah, but you can still get COVID. I probably did have COVID and didn't even notice. You know how many cases there are of people that got COVID and all they had was some sniffles and maybe a headache? Okay, I count my lucky stars, my blessings. I'm not trying to be cruel to people who do get COVID and are at risk for their lack of health or a rare disease. I want to help both of them. And I hope this is a wake up call. So put the Krispy Kremes down, pick up the barbell. They say opportunities come to those who are prepared. Opportunities take a incredibly numerous variety of forms. Okay, this is an opportunity to survive if you prepare yourself, and that is a value. That's a principle that I operate on, that I teach my boys, is maximize your preparedness. Train hard, study hard. Okay, so try to see through, try to read between the lines. If they're promoting something that's not good for you, they're doing it for a reason.